Paige, welcome back to another YouTube video, and it is officially spooky season. So to celebrate, I thought I would list my favorite picks for the top 5 horror games you should be playing this Halloween. Some of them are a little bit old, but they have been new to me. But regardless of whether or not you've played them before, I think they'd make the perfect addition to your Halloween gaming roster, even as a replay. So without further ado, let's get right into it. If there's one game that I think is completely underrated, it's my number 1 pick, At Dead of Night. It's a single-player horror game that was released back in 2020, and although some large creators helped it gain some hype back then, I think it never really got the credit that it deserved. But earlier this year, the first previews of the follow-up game, which is supposed to be a prequel, were released. So I think in anticipation of the second installment, we should all experience this spooky story again. And if you've never heard of this game before, allow me to give it its full sales pitch. At Dead of Night is literally one of the scariest games I've ever played. Because between the terrifying story and realistic first-person view, you really feel like you're there. And that makes the jump scares very intense, especially as they're just spread out enough to lull you into a false sense of security before BAM! Number 2 on my list is Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 Deep Sleep. It was released early this year, making it the perfect contender for your horror game roster this spooky season, and although I'll mostly be talking about the 3rd chapter specifically in this video, you could also play the other 2 chapters before taking this one on for even more spooky game content. Poppy Playtime is a first-person puzzle game with an interesting storyline that you as the player are trying to uncover. So by the 3rd chapter, you're set to explore the orphanage that's located underneath the toy factory you explored in the 1st. And there's fresh puzzles, new monsters to contend with, and expansions to the lore of the series. So whether you're just starting with Poppy's Playtime like me, or you play the other chapters as well, this is a fun little game for October. 3rd on this list, it is a game that I'm pretty sure you've probably heard of before, Phasmophobia. This game is popular for a reason, and I'm about to sing its praises for the 100th time since release. Phasmophobia is always a fun time, especially if you have a few friends to play with, although if you're really brave, you can play it alone and it's probably just as much fun. Just in case you don't know, Phasmophobia is a game in which you go into various homes as a paranormal investigator with a crew that can consist of up to 4 people. The objective is to identify the ghost type and potentially meet some extra objectives by using your ghost hunting equipment, which you can actually buy and upgrade back in the shop. And although this game has been out for a while, the team behind it is always letting out new updates that enhance the game even more. For instance, they recently added a new lighthouse map that I am obsessed with, and it's really gotten me back into playing the game, especially for spooky season. Number 4 on this list is Lethal Company. Lethal Company is another multiplayer horror game, and it actually just came out last year around this time. It's sold millions of copies since then, and for good reason. It's a simple game, but a super fun one. The goal is to explore various worlds and collect items to sell in order to not get fired by the mysterious company you work for and thus be booted out into space. There are monsters to contend with, proximity voice chat to keep things realistic and chaotic, as well as plenty of places to get lost, so tread very carefully. However, I will say that Lethal Company is not as much fun to play alone versus Phasmophobia, which I feel like is a game you can play single player and still have a good time. So just keep that in mind, and remember that you can have up to 4 players in your Lethal Company. Number 5 is Granny. Granny was released on PC in 2018, so it's definitely been around for some time, but I've only recently started getting into it, and it is so fun. And if I'm being honest, it's also a little bit of a challenge. The only objective in this game is simple: escape Granny's house, and there are a few main ways you can do this, but it all boils down to finding the right items and remember where in the house you need to use them. Oh, did I mention that Granny is hunting you down the entire time? Because she is. If she catches you 5 times, it's game over. And by over, I mean you literally have to start all over. If you do end up trying Granny and you decide that you like it, then you'll be happy to know that there are several sequels to this game as well. And they include the introduction of good old Grandpa. Before I wrap up this video, I want to throw in a few honorable mentions, just in case you want to have a little bit more spooky fun in 2024. Dead by Daylight is a popular multiplayer round-based game where the 4 players try to escape the ring while avoiding the player that's been dubbed the killer, who's trying to sacrifice them so that they can win the game. And it's a lot of fun to play around Halloween because there are tons of well-known horror characters within the game. Some of them are locked behind DLCs, but some of them are just in the base game, which is really, really fun. I personally really, really love Dead by Daylight. Sims, but make it kind of spooky. So if you're a massive Sims fan like me, then you don't need to forget that you can easily make The Sims 4 a little bit more Halloween themed by using certain packs, like the Spooky Stuff pack, the Vampires game pack, and the Werewolves game pack. And sometimes around this time of year, EA will even run sales for these spooky packs, so be sure to watch out for those if you don't own the packs already, because as you guys well know, EA and their DLCs are super expensive, and if they are on sale, you need to nab them even if you don't think you're going to use them a whole ton in the future, because on sale they are worth a lot more than they are without. And there you guys have it. 5 scary games I think will have you on the edge of your seat by Halloween. I hope you'll let me know what your own top 5 are, because I'm always on the lookout for new gaming inspiration as well. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for new content. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!